Somebody.
It'll be 5 years ago. It's already January.
It's weird. Just right over here.
I'll see you all day.
Is that Eau Claire?
I'm not. I'm full. You know what I did for lunch?
I had a meeting that was just a horrible meeting.
Understand.
You wanna kick it in?
Seriously.
As far as I know, I haven't heard otherwise.
I've got all the ways to get back here. So funny. I was proud of myself.
I was telling Shiny, we could work at the budget somehow. In your office.
Yeah, I don't throw away good stuff. It's still good.
One day you go in and be a field
We bought these chairs from Office
13 years
Depot.
ago.
Yeah, from Office Depot. And then we had a local guy that did upholstery, and he had him replace them back then.
Oh, no, they're 15. I'm
They're older than that.
Are they?
Billy's will be
Chairs
not
are
a long
good.
time,
It's
yeah.
just these arms.
Yeah.
Wonder if they have arms for
Okay.
that.
I don't know.
Yeah. Cause
Not
I like
expensive, but
this.
I knew
Yeah.
the building.
I like, that's,
Yeah, we had him redo
Because-
that.
April.
Because these are standard Office Depot style chairs.
3 or 4 times a
How are
month,
you?
that's about it, so.
Can you fix your knee?
you hit your knee, oh, I think that would be bad.
So what's that thing about
Hurts, doesn't
this
it?
thing?
It does. There's cookies if you like it. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Well, I think we just replaced the whole thing, because this is defective down here, look at here, I mean.
We'll still have to, I mean, we can go get a
Replace
regular
the
chair.
whole desk, you know.
It was nice to have the back like that, to have him come in and do that. I'll just find somebody to do that.
Is Tim coming?
As far as I know, he will be here.
Let's give it just a few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody?
I thought it was just on 125.
Up after 5:30?
How are you?
Yeah.
Larry, take note. January 5.
One of the crazy things about the building is that the heat rises really bad in this building, right? Because of the comfort, the signal rises right up into the 3rd floor here. It can get a little warm.
I'd like to call the meeting to order for the city.
Vice Mayor Lund,
Here.
Mayor Calvert,
Here. Have a quorum. People, and welcome.
Father, we thank you tonight, opportunity to gather and just to serve as they consider every decision before them, for the good of all who live in this community, short-term success. Tonight that we are so blessed to be.
Of the United States
with liberty and justice. Is there anything additional you want to?
INCOG elected officials reception that night, but we need to RSVP. We plan on attending, so I can, in the long term, the chamber coming out about that as they get closer. I just want to say welcome to Tammy and I.
David. Moving on, I'm looking forward to a really good.
This talked about the sales tax active budget. At what point do you need to make some changes?
To begin holding back. We've asked for all of our remaining, we'll start those conversations about what standpoint. We're working our way through that just to kind of make sure that we low our revenue at this. We may not need to make an adjustment.
The anniversary of the discovery of, and I'm just
When is that, when would that be?
125 years, and so, I mean, not like we have to get everything together, you know.
Years.
So we start working our way through that. Thank you for bringing it.
We'll move right on in.
Consent
I'm
is.
sorry, right on into our scheduled business. To approve or deny cancellation of the February to us on that.
Texas ICS show. So there was a discussion that recommendation on that meeting. That would be the February.
Anyone else has an illness or we have any?
Canceling? I think it's better when fine with counseling subject to whatever.
Other comments from any other council?
Meeting would have been, it's hard to do a Tuesday when you're used to.
Motion that we cancel
Lynn,
Councilor Fox.
and it's intersection control of Guy Street, Glenpool.
And of West 156 on to Broadway. This is a study that is the one that commissioned this study because it was to be proposed at that there are 4 intersections that were being studied, and Broadway. And that now the design was a key stakeholder in this process. This study, now the study itself. The purpose of this presentation is to get your the northbound crashes. The map shows collisions there, which is more recent information. As we all know in Glenpool, there was a consultant is aware of that, but Team A is suspected injuries. Next slide. 4 options rather. US 75 into Yukon and Broadway are roundabouts as roundabouts. A little bit of operation in and out from a looked at Broadway we have an environmental impact. The key consideration here is the level of service. To the academic is acceptable. D is getting to while F is a forced flow.
It takes a single vehicle. That's what that means. That's
What signalized intersection we're using within that study, but an average delay of an A, if you agree, anything greater than.
So like when we used to have the light on 70.
Not up here.
That's an A intersection. If one going southbound, I live and that's an F for sure. This is a little bit here and the geometric configuration. We look at 2025 that the work will actually be done. As of today, that intersection for year 2025 in the morning, around the level A, meaning that it's free, will still function at a level A. In the evening, it will function at a level A. As of on function at a B. So today, as of this year, now there is the additional turn lanes that could, with this exhibit here, they have amount of delay. So that's if we did that this year. So I took my time to explain that to the next slide, please. B in 30 in the PM. Board relative to just have some, what do I call that? Out and created a dedicated turn movement. So with that, with all those months, the PM for 2025 and 2030.
Just turn around like we have a
point because we asked ODET that the scope of this work was just looked at on the large. Actually have a meeting this week looked at as a whole.
Studies 150 first to 2.
121 to 150. Is that now
Isolated.
going to include on R1 proposed not doing it, and they
There's a confluence. The 2 consultants first will be part of the longer, not say at this time.
that'll keep it on our radar quicker.
Right.
Sorry, that's fair.
You are
patients that I have witnessed.
good point. But that is a good point. Roadways, it's sad to say, from rare ends, historically less. It trades that T-bone and rare end. Another project, so it does even further reduce the speed.
That increases your in general compared to most. You're right. In today's world,
They have lots of. Then you don't come into the other people.
Yeah, and I think already been built by ODOT, the third one. But that's a two-way, 2-lane. Next slide, please. In the AM and the PM, the signalized modified from the evenings. There are a few cross board with the AA across board, and even with the modification mentioned is south that intersection where the roundabout is put, and that worsens the queuing. And I know because some of that area is in the environmental considerations. Definitely more expensive than that drive. Having signals. Nothing is really passed with roundabouts, but letting the report also recommends the additional. The report also covers bridge, Yukon, and Broadway, every intersection, and it's going to end up as we have and both ODOT things.
And they're not including the school entrance of Warrior Road in this.
Warrior Road.
Warrior Road.
And no, the southeast we see developed in the long term. It doesn't take that into
Here at UConn, it's not, also not.
So when this study, 2025,
the one corridor study. So I don't believe it was included. Do we happen to know just ramps in their data? Did we get their, one of the options and talking about sit down with ODA on, or if there are strong vote on this report, there's not. This is really about understanding, forcing off the creek. We wanted to generate some conversation. Traffic counts. I'm curious. One thing is just one side is going to be a predominant data, and wondering if maybe it's a way still. With as we walk our way through this,
And everybody coming off west, they go that direction,
Right.
that would be.
And Yukon is one interchange. I don't understand. And you made just one giant road back around. That's
we had that conversation for the south and the trip generations. We may potentially take note of it and,
southwest development. They could go 30 back out to go to.
see, as David alluded to, is really what right there at a longer term process. That we talked about potentially we're going to create some angst because they're going to drive past the regular traffic. The other one, that level of truck traffic that we see as loads quite a bit, manage that.
Go under 75 though.
We'll figure out about that a little bit. Depending on the data at the end of the day.
Well, I think they can, but on 100 off ramp without having to go. And that, we're just trying to show, go back the
Basically.
opposite direction.
Today,
And so it,
Roundabouts is you're still going to run a Yukon and then come back at that
I have
one.
that
I don't think this is anymore by doing it, but you're still going to neighborhood of would like to.
so what that, and reanalyzes the level of service and see if it's still, we'll take that as feedback to ODOT. And
then we stick the signal.
The other thing that I think we want to keep in mind as we move forward today, broader corridor study, we surround processes. By creating something here that, as we move forward, how do we this corridor?
Accommodate the whole.
We do that in a way that we're not very closely with ODOT on. Is it wasn't going to preclude conversation specific.
Conversation is what the city, how they're typically designed to be signalized at Broadway. So we also wanted to get council's feedback on
And that's the
signal
more
around.
expensive.
You bring that exit and then you put a light
Yes,
there
no,
or a
I'm sorry.
roundabout there or something.
It would take half or more because you're going to, right? So if you're moving back, you're going to move back basically with almost a fairly steep ramp even then, and how being at that level of property for that type of realization or something else already there. The other thing, ready to be a moot point, I believe, in place with that TIF in place for Brookover, it could be reimbursed for those. God has not released them to do the light that was originally utilized back. 3 different traffic studies that potentially go away here. I'll have to check those numbers, but I'm going to be able to use that development money.
And them, but all these have been told through the grapevines that, the city decided having to enforce us, then there's some need
Earlier, but why
That's a question I asked ODOT. The scope of this work only, the second response for a divergent diamond without
It's for the 75 cents. That's a virgin diamond, still fairly new across the state. So traffic circles, roundabouts on about it regularly when we have conversations. They do not want to turn 151. That comes up in that conversation to try to speed traffic, but they know that's a problem with especially on highways, and so it is an upwind highway.
Well, from have a light, sit through that when you could only go.
See that, Mayor, a good example of we agreed. ODOT, which is normal. We
But I will.
we appreciate only maybe not. Really, what we want to make sure that we've got here is our discussions in ODOT, and so I want to.
back to the diverging diamond on that bridge, saying you need, or are they saying?
I haven't looked at it, but modification of the build, you have to go for the abutment itself. The longer corridor study that we're talking about, they probably weren't looking to do that side of it.
No, they're gonna do that at 81st Street.
81st and 75, they have to cut into that.
There is a chance, depending on what that design is, at 141, so there is no room to widen unless, it is definitely a piece that they're gonna have.
Do we think like they're talking about 8 lanes and things?
I don't have a good answer for you, but what I can tell you is that I think that speaks towards construction. Actual study is on.
Changed, that was a position in utility relocates in the new one that was just approved earlier this year, several, but just.
State Highway 67 intersection controls moved to the tail end, on the.
So, good news, bad news.
Very good. And right on into the Glenpool.
Trustee Brooks.
Here.
This meeting, David.
Correct.
One item that needs to be removed will go on or deny pay applicant improvements project.
Observe, and some blanks, but I'll. The amount due is $3,593,000. The amount Crossland had our consultants to be spent $1 to 2 cents with a balance to finish.
Is attached to this item.
Are there any questions? Do we have a motion? A second, would you please call the roll again?
Yes.
And it does, and David, our city engineer, will speak.
We same thing, similar to the $113,000, $99,399, $91,294 to the pictures of the headworks. We have some pictures with the generators there, close to completion as well. Building very close to the art structure is supposed to be discharged. And I will.
Just, yeah, so.
Report, but it is on site. I want to say that thing is about it, and
Now that the walls are
building to the PS there.
Now, is that, are we on somebody else's city?
We have an easement with that property, we use it.
It is
how many people do we think it's going to?
just one. Yes, it's 6 individuals.
Yeah, we're hoping we can get away with, with somebody that floats back and forth.
Are those new positions? Or
We already have that on staff, working our way through those. So at the moment, we're planning on 3 to 1 that we need to be looking at a budget amendment as positions as early as made them out and trained up at other facilities. Exactly when we can, all the equipment trainings, everything, the same style. We weren't certain that it's looking like based on the timing, so we're still evaluating that. I'll let you know as we have 6 September. The reason for that is that we have to open the plant with August, September, probably to get it started processing. So I
got the plant being done with construction and
for the plant to be operational for a September timeline.
Way ahead of
Schedule. The schedule, so we're feeling optimistic today. So we are on schedule. July, we would have encumbered and running the lagoon like David, a holding cell based on even after the plant is up and running.
Correct.
You know, when we first started out, and it looks like we're not.
on the workers, you said May, July 1, correct?
Correct.
So it was,
Was out, there's a chance we would have enough.
make sure I had that correct in my.
There's no motion on that, simple industrial.
Chair Calvert,
here.
Trustee Buchanan,
And we have any public comments, like we have one, so we'll go right into scheduled business with the Glenpool housing study.
Good evening, Chair and
Good
Trustees.
evening.
To complete a Glenpool house in the strategic plan. Back in the summer, we had the meeting just said, hey, lay it on us. Provided some great feedback for us leading into this process. What they will look at, and that we already have, how are around Glenpool. Gerald, myself, we looked at 4 companies that go up with reviews with some of the and so we narrowed it down to 2 companies, but we give some layman's terms here for this. The kickoff with our staff also has some stakeholders in this from the school district, and that will be done. What kind of feedback? Prominent housing studies to analyze and compare Glenpool to some of our in those communities. Narrow scope was the neighborhood by neighborhood assessment, analyzing housing type and then access to amenities. Land and lot costs in the nearby counties. The market is speaking to what's going to work for us. Summary that will really help us rule that we are a housing place to live. So staff recommends that the Glenpool housing study. And I'll take you to do the study. Upon approval is to start as a staff, and then they will schedule.
Realistic for August, September.
Will there be, as far as what they analyze?
School, you're hearing, what sales tax, this how it's kind of flat. We can definitely.
Concern I would see that would make it difficult for different city limit school districts to be cheaper. So it's
like, I don't know what.
Well, the other thing is to pick any school you want. Have some little criteria with high schools, want your house full and still that
Well,
question is how that was looking.
Where I want to live.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's why. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I would, as the school districts make an issue as well. So I'm not real sure how to tie it into the studies on what's appropriate, how can we tie that in based on the maybe helping me understand.
I just know I hear people, I somehow they're.
That was a good factor.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
The results that we get. Is this information, it might help some policies and is development.
Yes, I would say you're going to give really great information. David and I talked about, and this is what we have to offer. And I think the stakeholder meeting, business leaders, developers, get better. So, absolutely. And I would say it was a thorough comment. They really think this. This is what you guys want to do. It's a tool that will definitely. Yes, I would say so.
Probably.
Help us evaluate both comprehensive plan. I mean, we've had conversations about that. Okay, comparables to those others. Then make those recommendations and show builders first and foremost. And we want to make sure that we're getting what we want hearing from the public. Those businesses that were out.
So again, to your point, excellent time. Hearing none, commercial in the amount of 50 seconds.
Second.
We have a second question.
Trustee Fox, Trustee Brooks,
7:20. District's regular meeting.
Chair Calvert,
Here.
Trustee Buchanan.
From Brian Cook, Director of
Say, child insurance asset.
Anything to do?
77 calls for service, 8 refused, 11 canceled, an uptick in the flu. Reflect that. That's our largest, be a money maker for us. So basically, nothing really.
report. We don't actually have a district of comments.
We do have one.
Okay, report and payment claims as of 12/29. Is there anyone that motion on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to.
Vice Chair Lund,
Yes. With no additional,
Thank you, council. Okay.
So we got next
she
week.
is, hopefully she comes back.
I'm trying to get to things, it's just. I actually have two time, but I need to do a presentation, so it's just things like that.
Yeah.
There's someone I need to talk to, who's already on vacation, so I need to.